And let me say to the previous panelists, you don't know pain and suffering until you've been a sports fan in Chicago. So let me just say. But David, I just want to extend my thanks to you for this kind invitation to be here today. And congratulations to you and your team that's responsible for this conference. I've really enjoyed myself and found it very informative, so congratulations.
Thank you so much, Tom, and glad to have you here. We do have a history. I have to caveat that we used to work together, and so Tom and I have been talking about him coming back to talk about specialty sectors. And I'm glad you're here. Tom has been with Heitman for 39 years. He began his career actually at EY, right? So
yes.
Before joining J&B Realty in 1984, he's now Senior Managing Director at Heitman, and especially responsible for the Value Add Fund, a series that's been very successful investing in specialty sectors over many decades. Tom, since we have niche sectors been part of your investment universe, take us back to the time to better understand how the sectors were positioned then and how they are now. I don't, make the analogy to what we talked about industrial yesterday. I don't know if specialty sectors would have had such a big stage 20 years ago on any real estate conference.
Yeah, well, I would say that, back, I'm trying to think of our first experience, back in the probably mid to late 80s, we made our first medical office investment. And that was at a time when we didn't have these labels of niche property sectors. It was sort of the good old days. It was just real estate. So I think that was our first niche property sector that we invested in. But I think it was probably in the mid-1990s we made a larger investment in the self-storage sector with a private operator. And from that experience, aggregated a portfolio and ended up going public through an IPO. So that was really sort of the start. We created in the 90s, I think, a track record in the specialty property sectors. And then it just sort of organically grew into other things like student housing and senior housing. When you see the benefits that some of these property sectors bring to the portfolio, but we added over time in a measured way. But I would say it wasn't probably until the global financial crisis that the light bulb moment for me went off, and we'll probably talk a little bit about the benefits of that in a moment. So that was sort of the timing. In terms of what's changed over that period of time in some of these property types and how we are approaching them from an investment perspective, I'll maybe take medical office as an